Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to help you get the Zettelkasten of your dreams on your work table beside you. Well, this is starting a new series that is about questions that are both new and review. And our first item in the list has to do with numbering. We just finished a series that was about parents and teachers who wanted to introduce the Zettelkasten to youngsters. And in the course of it, we were brainstorming. I came up with just a simplified way of numbering that I thought might be a good plan to try to teach to maybe a middle school child, someone who had a concept of the order of the numbers and the order of the letters of the alphabet comfortably enough that that wouldn't even be a problem for them. So in the process, one of the comments that I got back was that, that might be a good numbering system for adults as well. So I'm going to give it a try. This is a new topic, and I am in an interesting spot in my new book, Writing with Emotion. You might have noticed a new cover photo on this series. Here's the book that I'm handwriting, diligently writing out every word by hand, and I'm at about the halfway point. And I'm at the whole first part of the book is philosophy. What does the Zettelkasten mean? What thoughts are you thinking? Because it's so difficult with the Zettelkasten when you're trying to learn the mechanics and you're trying to learn the concepts. So I split them out, and the two halves reference each other so that you can read the philosophy and then go look at the mechanics. You can be reading the mechanics. It'll point back to the philosophy, but you don't have to try to get them both at the same time. And in the process of completing the philosophy section, I now have a number of cards that need to be put back into the system. These are the cards that I pulled for the book that all have regular card numbers, and they had to get put back in card number order, which I'm not quite done. I've got them in clumps now, and then I got to subsort them to get down in card number order, and then they have to get filed back where they belong. That's one job. That's not what we're talking about tonight. It's a big job. There's another very good sized clump of cards that are either notes that I made to myself while I was working that are not complete main cards by any stretch of the imagination. But many of them are true main cards that are all ready to go, but I couldn't file them while all of the cards were pulled and nothing was in order in my Zettelkasten, so they couldn't get numbers. So I just put them together with the section I was writing and promised myself that they would get numbers later. These are the cards that I'm interested in tonight. And what am I going to do with these cards? Well, I'm going to give them some numbers. Of another much smaller deck, that big stack that has to be put away, they came from literally every drawer in the Zettelkasten, because when I started taking notes and information about the Zettelkasten, I had no idea that I was going to teach courses in it or write a book about it. I was just picking up things as I went along because I was building out my Zettelkasten. Well, I've decided that any new cards are going to go into a separate area. I've already designated 6 to be my big overarching number for my Zettelkasten cards, and I have some to get that area started. Since I promised myself that all the new cards would go into this area, I've got a job to do, assigning these cards numbers. So I thought it would be pretty interesting if I used that method that I was proposing for youngsters to put these new cards away. It's an experiment. I've already got a whole bunch of different numbering systems in my Zettelkasten as it is. What would it hurt to have one more? And we can try it out, A, on something that's real. These are real cards. And B, on cards that you might be interested in because they're about a Zettelkasten. So I invite you to come along and we'll give that numbering system a try. And if we're going to give it a fair try, then that means we don't sort them. That means the only thing I do is I say, that's note to self. Skip it. Actually, I'll put these into 2 piles. There might be, note to self, skip it, or it might be, ooh, that deserves to be fleshed out into a real main card. It'll go in a different pile. But I'm not dealing with those tonight. I'm going to be working with the main cards that are ready to file that can go into my existing stuff that starts out with the number 6. Want to come along and see how that works? I don't mind experimenting, so let's have some fun. See you in the down-facing camera. Okay, so here's my stack of cards. It turns out that approximately half of them are complete main cards that are ready to be placed, and the other half are either random notes or cards that are not ready to be placed because either they're missing my response or they're missing the tagline, or sometimes both. And what those are cards that I originally created as notes to myself, but upon reflection I think I want to add them to my Zettelkasten. But they're a different project. We're talking tonight about a new way of numbering where we pay very little attention to the numbers at all. The only thing that we ask of our numbers is that it help us put the card where we want to put it. Now here's my card. Encapsulation helps in teaching but needs understanding. Here's my start of my Zettelkasten, so I know everything's going to come behind that. And here's my directory card for 6. And down here I have K. I want to use sound teaching principles to present the Zettelkasten. I chose that because it's about teaching. Okay, so now here I am in 6K, and here's its directory card. Picking up on this 6K4 because focus on the truth but employ teaching tips. Well, encapsulation I'm considering a teaching tip in that regard. So now I'm going to go to 6K4. Okay, 6K4 doesn't have any cards that follow it. This card wants to follow it, so that means that since this card ends in a number, the follow-on card is going to add a letter. It'll start out the same as the parent card, but now it's going to add a letter. Well, what letter? Well, the first letter of the alphabet. So this card has its number. Now this one hasn't been indexed yet, so it's going to go into a separate pile to be indexed. Okay, here's the next card in the stack, and that's one of the things. We're not sorting them, we're just placing them as they come. This one is about placing a card. Well, what kind of a card are we placing? We're placing a main card, so that means we're going to be looking at 6C in the Zettelkasten Main Cards Mix Ideas. So I'm going to pull card 6C. Now here's card 6C. It has a directory card, but it only has a vision card associated with it. It has no follow-on cards. As you know, this 6C section is pretty new. So this one, being about a main card, is going to follow this card. This card chose this card for its parent. So its new number is going to start with the same number as the parent. And since this is a letter, it's going to need a number to follow, and there's no other number to compete with. So it's going to be 6C1. Now because this card already has a directory card, we're going to add it to the directory card. Okay, 6C has a directory card with the new card to follow. 6C1 now has a place. It has a card number, and it goes in the to be indexed pile. Okay, our next card at random is also about a main card. And the only thing we had in our Zettelkasten for generality about the main card was this 6C. We've got another card, 6C1, that we just placed. So now we have to ask our new card, which of these two cards does it want to have for its parent? This one is going to choose 6C as its parent also, but it can't be 6C1 because that's already taken, so it's 6C2, and we add it to the directory card. Okay, so now my directory card has both of the new child cards, and these two are ready to be indexed. Since I've already had to go grab something from the to be indexed pile, I'm going to flag them with a sticky note instead of putting in a separate pile because they need to be able to participate as new cards arrive. So I already ran into a sticking point. Okay, here I am ready for the next card. Okay, this is an idea that I came up with while I was writing the book, which is the idea of, with bib cards, I tend to take my notes primarily on the back side of the card, like this example, where I have a page number and a bunch of notes, but typically the front sides are blank. So that seems kind of a waste. I've tried filling the front side out first and then flipping it and doing the other side, and I end up going a little bit crazy. It's a lot easier to read through them just one after the other. I came up with this idea that maybe I could use the front side for kind of a recall. Maybe that would be a good place to put a summary of what's on the back side. So if I'm looking for a general area, I can look at the line side one after the other to see where I'm getting warmer, and then, that's the region, then look at the back side. I haven't tried this out yet. It's just an idea. It's on a main card. So where does it want to go in my newly developing 6 area? It's about a bib card, and bib cards are section E. So I'm going to pull 6E. Okay, it appears that all I have is a header for it, and I do have a directory card, but it's completely empty. So now I don't have any decisions to make. I know what card number this one is going to get. It's going to get 6E like the parent. This one ends in a letter, so it's going to get a number, and there's no other numbers to compete, so it's 6E1. And because I already have a bib card, I'm going to add it to the bib card. Normally, if I just have one card, I don't need a bib card because that's all there is to the conversation. But since I've already got one, I'm going to go ahead and fill it out. So there it is with its number, its entry on the bib card, and it's flagged because I have to index it. Okay, here's a main card about ZWD. What's that? Zettelkasten Beyond Your Wildest Dreams. It's the book I'm writing. So it's a main card about the book I'm writing. And my tagline is that I want my Zettelkasten book to be comprehensive and easily navigated. So my book is about teaching, so I'm going to pull section K on teaching Zettelkasten. 6K has a directory card. Okay, now I've got 2 competing cards here. Part of it is connecting the why of the reader to his need. You could say that his need, he needs to have something that's comprehensive and easily navigated. Or you could say, number 2, silos are easier on the teacher, but horizontal helps the student. Well, this is about how the book is organized, and this is about organization. So I'm going to choose 6K2. I'm going to pull that card. Now, 6K2 has a very lively conversation set going on, but they're all links to other cards, the other boxes of my Zettelkasten where the cards have been flying all over the place. So these are all links. They make a great conversation, but they don't contribute anything to the card number of my new card. My new card has chosen this card for its parent, so my new card will start 6K2, but for all the entries on this bib card, 6K2A is free, and so that's going to be the card number. Now I'll add it to the directory card. Okay, so here it is. It has its number, it has its entry on the directory card, and it's ready to be put away. Now, one of the things that I would like to point out now, before I go any further, I think I've shown the system. You can see how easy it is. One of the things that a system like this requires is a fairly small Zettelkasten. So this would be something for someone either just starting out on their Zettelkasten or for a young person whose Zettelkasten might not grow too big, because you're basically having to thumb through all of your cards to get to the place where you want to add your new card. Well, what did you think of that system? It was pretty quick, wasn't it? We placed 5 cards in that short of a time frame. Now, what makes this system work? Well, the principal thing that it works is that I had a small area I was working with. I was not taking each card and saying, where in the totality of Zeke might this card want to go? So I was not starting with the index to say, oh, well, what does this pertain to? And coming up with all possible links. No, I was focused. What made this possible was that I knew from the start that I wanted to put all of my new Zettelkasten cards in that section 6, which was very small. And so that meant I could just navigate down section 6 to place the card. When else would that work? That would work whenever your Zettelkasten is very small. If you're just starting out, or a child's Zettelkasten might never grow larger than what he can just thumb through. Now, for me, I have to do that next step of indexing, but if you're dealing with a child who is able to leaf through his cards, indexing might not even be necessary for the child. It's necessary for me because I'm going to want my cards to interact ultimately with the other cards that are in there, which means that when I'm in the process of indexing that card, I will probably be making directory cards that link to the other section. You know, all of those cards, that big mountain of cards that already have card numbers, I'm going to be wanting to link to those as well. But I hope you see that this is a viable alternative for a small Zettelkasten. So it's just a way of getting you started to keep it simple. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back tomorrow for our next questions, old and new. Bye-bye.